आचार्य वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So I welcome you all to this first class of Purusha Suktaha. My intention is to complete the Pancha Suktaha or Sukta Sangraha. So Sangraha means a collection of Suktams. And the foremost in the Suktams and one of the most fundamental thing is the Purusha Suktaha. In fact, it is said that a person who doesn't know Purusha Suktam is not entitled for moksha. Even though a person may be knowing many things, but he has to know to chant Purusha Suktam. He has to know the meaning of Purusha Suktam, and one has to dwell upon the meaning of the Purusha Suktaha. So this class initially will be a little bit slower. It will become a little bit complicated. I don't want you to run away from the class, because it is supposed to be a Bhashyam class, supposed to be text, a text which has got deeper meaning than what is said elsewhere in the book. So Purusha Suktaha generally is chanted as a foremost mantraha in any rituals and functions. So if you ask the Purohit or the priest who comes to your house, they will invoke all the Bhagavans, all the rituals are required, then the Suktam is chanted. Because Purusha Suktam is a complete summation of everything which is available in this universe, manifest and unmanifest. See, today you don't have to do any book reading. Don't worry about the book reading. I'm not going to even start looking into the Bhashyam yet today. So I sent you those texts initially for you to print and keep everything ready. So as we start going through the text, you need to refer to the Bhashyam, which is given the Bhashyam also in the group, and also given a text format which is only the mantraha. So we will use both this, and I'll upload some notes which I think is required for you, some text which I've written before, for you to understand the meaning of each and every other text. Now, so this hymn or this particular is called Purusha Suktaha. So Uktaha means saying, and Su means it is auspicious. So that saying or that expression which talks about the auspiciousness, Mangalam, fullness, happiness of the Purushaha is called Purusha Suktaha. This is the literal meaning of the word Purusha Suktaha. So the word Purushaha should not be construed as the man. In the normal term, we say Purushaha. Purushaha means man. And Stri, when they say it's the female. So Purushaha, Stri is called. But this Purushaha here doesn't talk about neither a male nor a female. It has got no gender. So it is free from gender. So that which is free from gender is called This Purushaha, which pervades every living objects, non-living objects, mobile and immobile objects. Purayati iti Purushaha. So that which pervades is called Purushaha. This Purusha Suktaha is also referred or compared in the Gayatri also. So in the Gayatri, there are 4 verses, 4 lines are there. So first 4 lines on the 4 padas, or padaha you can call. The first line, Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha, Om Tatsa Vitur Vare Enyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yo Naf Prachodayat. So this 4 lines is comparable to what is mentioned in the Purusha Suktaha. The Bhagavan or the manifestation of this Purushaha has got 4 parts. Chatushpadaha. Out of that, only 1/4 is manifested here. 3/4 is not manifested. So Tripadasyam Buddham Divi. So in the text somewhere there. So Tripadaha Tripadasyam Mrutham Divihi. Means Divihi means this earth. And Tripadaha means 3/4 of this manifestation is not visible to us. Only 1/4 of this manifestation is in the form of the universe. So you can imagine that how little we know about our Lord. How little we know about those things which are not even manifested. So science is still grappling, science is still finding out more and more discoveries, more and more things. But Vedanta already accepts that there is no need to discover anything more, because we already know there are things which are unmanifest. So the manifest form is Ishvaraha with the Nama Rupaha. And the unmanifest also is Ishvaraha without the names and forms. Both are called Purushaha. So Purushaha, as I told you, it means it pervades everything, that which fills everything. So Purayati means that which fills everything is called Purushaha. Also, another word called Purati Agre Gacchati. Purati Agre Gacchati. That means that which is always ahead, which goes ahead of you. It is always there before you reach there. Example, if you are going from Australia to say India, you say that I am traveling in the plane. Where are you traveling? You are traveling in space. The plane is also in space. The carrier, which plane you're taking also is in space. You are also in space. And where you are getting into the plane also is space. Where you're getting off also is in space. So before even the plane lands, you're already in space, already there. So where is the question of you traveling anywhere? You have never traveled anywhere because you're already in space. So this is really not travel. It means what? Before you even arrive, the place of destination is already there. A place called Chennai or Trichy or Mumbai, whatever you call that. It's already there with so many objects, so many facilities, everything is there. So it's called Purati Agre Gacchati, means that which goes ahead of you all the time. You can never catch up with this. You try to catch up with this, you will never be able to understand what it is. It is something not to be grasped, agrahyam, apanipadam, that which is got no limbs. Agotram, got no gotraha. So this Purushaha is comparable to all this the asangaha, that which is not attached to anything. See, Purusha Suktam is just not to be chanted just like that. It is to be chanted, of course. First of all, the foremost thing in any upasana is to first learn what this Purusha Suktam is, and learn from a qualified teacher who can teach you the correct swara, correct pronunciation, so that you are proficient in the chanting. Number one, first is important. You must not stop at only that. You must now understand what each of the word means, and how does this Purushaha is relates to you. Is this person different? Is this Purushaha which you're talking about? Is he somebody to be worshipped? How is to be worshipped? What form is to be worshipped? Does he have a form? Does he have no form? All these things are being said in the Purusha Sukta. So the word Purushaha itself is coming from the root word called pr. Pr means it's pervading everything. And it is distinguished from the prakriti. So the word pr also is contributing to the word prakriti, which is called the matter. And Purushaha is different from prakriti. So prakriti means matter. All this thing which is there, including physical body, also is prakriti, is modified form of prakriti. So this particular suktam is referred in many Upanishads, and I thought I would just today cover the greatness of the suktam and how it is referred in various Upanishads for now, to start with. One of them is called Sapurnitvat Puman Namaha Paurushe Sukta Iritaha. See if I can send you a message or maybe some text there. Look at your chat box. Okay.
Hello. Hello.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Sajiji, I can hear. Are you able to see this that one that you posted? Okay. So if you look at the one, Purnatvat means that which is of the nature of fullness. Purnatvat, Puman. Puman refers to. One second. So Purnatva, Puman. Puman means it refers to the human or the man, human being. Namaha means the name and form, which is called Jivaha. Paurushehe, belonging to this Purushaha. Suktaha sa uktaha. It means what? It is being said or is called by this name called Suktaha. Iritaha, it is said. So this Suktaha is supposed to be of the nature of Purnatvat, that which is of the nature of fullness. Purusha is nature of the fullness and is to be chanted or is to be used by the human beings who are of the name and form of the Jivaha, and it is said that this is to be understood by the Jivas. So, Sa Purnatva Puman Namaha Paurushe Sukta Iritaha. So, Iritaha means said, and Suktaha means this Purushaha, which is mentioned in the Purusha Suktam, is referred as the to be used or chanted by the Jivas who are called Puman Namaha. So Puman means the human being and Namaha means all names and forms, different people, different. So there is no restriction on who should chant or not chant. Anybody can chant Purusha Suktam. There are some mantras which are not recommended to be chanted by some people. Example, the Rudram is not recommended to be chanted by the females. It is not because there is something against the females should not chant nothing like this. The Rudram has got powerful vibrations. Some of the mantras are very deep, and especially when it can sometimes damage internal organs of the person. So it is not recommended for chanting those deep swaras which are there. One can chant these mantras quietly, internally, not verbally by giving emphasis. If you see, the Rudram is chanted at a very high pace, very fast pace, 6 minutes to do the entire Rudram and Chamakam. And sometimes it can be very stressful, lots of breathing and exercise required. So it can sometimes damage the internal organs of the female, which is sensitive, which is not as strong as human being, as the man. So it is recommended that this is not chanted. But Shastram doesn't say that you must not. It says it's not recommended, or you can do some other Parayanam like you got Devi Upasanaha, Lalita Sahasranamaha, or you can do Saundar Lahari. All these things are required, or because they are of the nature of beneficial for the females. But this particular Suktam, Purusha Suktaha, can be chanted by anyone, and there's no restriction on who should chant or not chant. Then it is also referred as Akhila Vedartha Sarva Shastraha. So the Purusha Suktam comprises the entire essence of the Veda and all the Shastras which are there. Keep posting those things where you know what I am talking about. If you want, you can copy this as well for your reference. I have actually transliterated that whole compound into easy to understand this. So this Purusha Suktaha Sa Eva, this is the only Suktam, this is the only Suktaha which comprises Akhila Vedarthaha. So Veda Arthaha means what? That which is revealed in the Vedas. The meaning revealed as consciousness, fullness in the Vedas is called Purushaha, Purusha Suktaha in this particular text. And also what? Sarva Shastra Arthaha. So whatever Shastra you have, Prasthanatrayam, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, Dharma Sutraha, all these things talks about the essence of this is contained in the Purusha Suktaha. So a person who chants Purusha Suktam gets the vision of the Shastra already. So indirectly he's referring to Shastra. He's not referring to some other text. It is part of Rig Veda. See, Purusha Suktam is coming from Rig Veda, section 10.90. And the Suktam also is referred in Prashna Upanishad, Kenopanishad, Kathopanishad, Mundaka Upanishad. All the Upanishads talks about this particular phenomenon called Purushaha. So that is why it's called Akhila Vedarthaha Sarva Shastrarthaha Evacha. So this is the only text which contains the essence of all the Vedas, all the Shastra meanings, etc. Then Purani Anyena Srishtani Naraha Tiryag Rishi Devataha. So you have to get used to all the text, all these languages now. So if you look at that meaning, so Purani, given the meaning there, this Purushaha which is ancient. So it is not something which is new. It is very, very old. This Purushaha is supposed to be a very old person. Older than everybody else. Samashti Vicha, Samashti Jiva all put together, Samashti Srishti all put together. He is the oldest person or the eldest person you can say. Then Anyena Srishtani. So this Purushaha is the one responsible for the creation or the manifestation of the entire living and non-living beings, mobile beings. And what is the Srishti? Naraha Tiryag Rishihi Devataha. So Naraha means the human being. And Tiryag means the animals. It includes all the species of animals, all the insects, worms, those Jadapur of the air, those things which doesn't have an intelligence is called Tiryag. Tiryag essentially means the animals. But here you should include the word animals as the one which has got no intelligence or no will, no particular karma. So for the Tiryag, there is no need for you to, they need not chant Purusha Suktam at all. They did not do anything at all. Imagine if the animals start chanting Purusha Suktam, then it will be a problem. Fortunately, the animals cannot do this, but it includes Naraha, human beings, the Tiryag, then Rishihi. So even the Rishis are also included in the manifestation. So all the Rishis which are there, so many Rishis are there, everything. And all the Devata, Samashti Devataha, including Brahmaji also is Devataha. So even Devata are also included in the Srishti. So this Purushaha is from where everything came into existence. So it's called Purani Anyena Srishtani Naraha Tiryak Rishi Devataha. Then next one I will send you is this one. I would recommend you make notes because there will be so much of Bhashyam will be there, Sanskrit will be there. I'm giving a quotation from various Upanishads. You don't need to, we are not starting the class officially yet or anything at the moment. We're just going into the introductory phase where we introduce various texts and see how the magnanimity of this whole Suktam is. So, Kshete Jivene Rupena Pureshu Purushaha Hya Asau. Kshete Jivena Rupena Pureshu Purusho Hi Asau. So Hyasau should be read as Hi Asau. So what does Kshetehe means? Kshete means referred to Kshetram. Hope you remember Bhagavad Gita chapter 13. Kshetram kshetrajña chapimam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Kshetra kshetra tayor jnanam tvajnanam matam mama. So here kshetre means that refers to the kshetram or the body or where this Purushaha lives. And how is it? Jivena Rupena, which is alive and lives in the form of consciousness. So this Purushaha is the one which is enlivening the physical body maintenance complex. The mind itself is an inert product. The mind itself doesn't have an existence of its own. And because the mind itself is inert, all the sensory powers, the sensory organs are also inert by nature. So consciousness or this Purushaha is the one which lends existence to the mind. The mind borrows sentiency from the consciousness of the Purushaha. Then it starts to live in the physical body, mind, sense complex. So Jivena Rupena means this Purushaha talks about as consciousness or the Atma, awareness, which is the essence of every living and non-living being. We must not conclude that consciousness is present only in human beings. It is present also in the Tiryak also, in the animals also. It is present also in stones. It is also present in the rivers, in the mountains. Any object you see, consciousness is pervaded. But a recognition of consciousness is possible only if there is a manifesting medium. The manifesting medium is called the mind, which only the human being has got. Only the human being has got the mind where this is manifest. That is why it becomes very important for a human being to study the Shastram, the Upanishad, and all these other texts which are given by the Rishis to understand and benefit from the purpose of having this Janma. There is no guarantee that next Janma is going to be a human being. In fact, Shastram clearly says that do not be under the impression that next Janma will also be a human being. This itself is a God's gift to you. This life is also a gift to us, and we must use every time of what we have available to realize only the truth of our own existence as to what is the purpose of we are being here. So the Jivena Rupena, I mean that which is alive, which keeps reminding you about your Purushartha. Purushartha Nishchaya is very important. Hope you don't forget all these things. So I'll keep crisscrossing between all this thing and introduction to Vedanta class, something else, so that you remember this text. So Jivena Rupena Pureshu. So Pureshu means that which fills everything. So consciousness pervades our entire physical body, mind, sense complex. Without the consciousness being there, you don't even know you're existing. In the waking state, you definitely know right now we're all waking state. Knowledge is fully manifest. You can identify every object other than yourself. You can identify the physical body, knowing this is a physical body. But what you can identify is that which is behind the physical body. So that is called this Pureshu, that which pervades everything. That which is the essence of everything is called Pureshu here. Purushaha Asau. So this is called Purushaha. So Purushaha is the one which pervades everything in all the living and non-living beings as the essence of one single. Sarva Bhutani Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha Pranapanasamaयुक्तौ Pachamyannam Chaturvidham. So, chapter 15 of the Bhagavad Gita, you have Aham Vaishwanaraha Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashitaha. It means what? I, the consciousness there, am present as the essence in what? In every living being. Praninam Deham. Vaishwanaraha. Vishwaha, Vaishwaha, Naraha, Praninam Deham Ashitaha. So Ashitaha means that which resides in all the devatas, all the Naraha, all living, non-living beings. I am the only essence present there. So the vision of the Bhagavad Gita also is given there. Same thing is said here also is Kshete Jivena Rupena Pureshu Purushaha Hi Asau. So you're able to cross connect how the vision is much broader than what it is. So traditionally, if you have any function there, it is a mechanical thing. Purusha Suktam is chanted in 4 minutes over. Narana Suktam 3 minutes over. Pancha Suktam in 10 minutes is over, 15 minutes. But just to not even talk about the Purusha Suktam, we have spent almost about half an hour, 30 minutes. So the depth of the text is much larger than what it is portrayed. Then, in some other text, it is mentioned as the Harihi also. So have a look at this one. So Puruhu Samagne Sharire. Puru Samagne Sharire Asmin Shayanat Purusho Harihi. It means what? This Puruhu or Puraha identified as the Purushaha or consciousness. Okay. Sharire. So it's living in the Shariram or it's present in the human body. So same thing is talked about in different Upanishads. So this Purushaha or this is identified as the consciousness present in the human body. Asmin means in my physical body or in everyone's physical body mental complex. How is it Shayana? So Shayana means residing. How Mahavishnu residing? Ananda Shayanaha. Padmanabhaha. Ananda Shayana. The one who is always, if you look at Vishnu, he'll be sleeping like this all the time. So it's not that he's sleeping there. He is contemplating. He's a yoga. It's a permanent yogi. The one who is always in meditation is called a yogi. So Ananda Shayanath, so Shayanath, Purushaha Harihi. Just as Vishnu is in meditation all the time, in Vaikuntaha, same way this Vishnu is also referred as consciousness in a living being and is present, always present as meditator. It's a contemplator always. It's an illuminator, you can say this. So all it gives you is that this Purushaha is always with you. Consciousness is always with you, is never separate from you. It is not distant from you, but it is distinct from other things. This Purushaha is not very far away. You don't have to go and look for what is Purushaha or what is Bhagavan here. But what you see outside, the objects in the physical body, is not the Purushaha. The real Purushaha is only a name and form, a modified name and form. So, Purusamakne Sharire Asmin Shayanat Purusho Harihi. So, in the Prashna Upanishad, section 5.5, Krishna Upanishad, the same Purushaha is identified as the one who is the sun, Suryaha. Suryaha Antargataha Purushaha. The one who is referred as the sun. And what it says here? It says that one has to meditate upon the Om. The Om syllable, which is Akaraha, Ukaraha, Makaraha. The waking state, dream state, and deep sleep state. So one who is meditating upon the Supreme or on the Om will be freed from all papas, all the sins which have been committed. You'll be free, because Om itself represents the sound symbol of the Lord. So a person who's contemplating on the Om, the meaning of the word mantra Om, is freed from all these sins and is given moksha, given a new life, a new vision, a new form, just as a snake or serpent discards the old snake, old skin, and adorns a new skin. So it is quoted in the Upanishad, in the mantra there. I'll send you that mantra also now. We'll look at it, meaning of that. Hope you're able to read, right? You're able to read. Okay. So this is So yaf punar etam trimatrena omiti anena eva aksharena paramam purusham. I've actually broken the word sandhi, etc. for you to understand. The whole mantra is actually only one line. But to understand the meaning of that, I've broken the sandhi, the whole text into different words, so we'll be able to understand the meaning of it. So yaha punaraha etam trimatrena omiti anena eva aksharena paramam purusham abidhyayita saha tejasi purushe sampannaha yata padodarasa tvacha nirmuchyate evam ha vai papmana nirmuttaha. So it's a long sentence, but I'll break it. I'll tell you what meaning it is. So yah punaraha means this purushaha also is referred again as what? Trimatrena, trimatraha. Trimatraha means what? Akaraha, ukaraha, makaraha. See, matra. So matra means one particular. So when you chant Om also, you must not chant a very long Om. Some schools of thought, they teach you Om like a very long Om. Sometimes you go to sleep just by listening to the Om itself. You wonder when they are going to stop the Om. Because the Om is supposed to be only one matra. Om, 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 Om. That's all. So you do one Om, 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 silence. Om, Om, Om. It is supposed to be the place, because after every makaraha, there is a silence followed by akaraha. So there is a small, very tiny break. So after every deep sleep state, there is waking state, correct? Waking state becomes, then you go to dream state. So makaraha. Akaraha, ukaraha, and then makaraha is a deep sleep state. So after dream state, you go into deep sleep state. Again, from deep sleep state, you don't directly wake up. This between deep sleep and waking up, there's a small window where you are neither there or not there. So that is called a silence. And the silence is in that process also you are very much there as a witness, but you are neither available for recognition at the time also. So trimatrena. So yeah, punaraha etam trimatrena om iti. So om iti means what? This om which is referred in the Upanishad, in the Prashna Upanishad as the mantraha, as a contemplation. Anena eva aksharena. So aksharaha means what? That which is permanent, that which is cannot decay. Aksharaha, aksharaha, akshara purushaha. Akshara purushaha. And what is this purushaha? Paramam purusham. That which is of the nature of ultimateness, paramaha. Paramatma, paramam purusham. Then, once you understand the meaning of this, so understanding the meaning of Purushaha as Trimatrena, the one which is of the meaning of the 3 syllables called the Om, understanding the meaning of the word Om is important. Om itself, you just keep on chanting Om, Om, Om. It becomes just a karma. It becomes an only, but understanding what Om means is important. Om is nothing but all, it's a word. And all the words indicate an object of knowledge. So any object you see can be indicated by a word. Tree, it's a word. Pen, word. Shariram, word. Jiva, word. Bird, also is a word. Cow, word. All of them are objects of knowledge, which is indicated by a word. All the words put together becomes the Jagat, correct? All of the words are nothing but objects, and all the objects put together is the Jagat or the universe. The universe also includes the individual, also we as individual also is part of that objective world. And this objective world, objects is revealed by this akaraha, ukara, makaraha, om. Any sound which is coming from your mouth reveals a word. Kaikam, vachikam, manasam. Even mentally also, if you just chant om also, it reveals an objective world. So the om has to be contemplated in this manner. So abhidhyayita means very well contemplated. Abhidhyayita means what? Means to dhyanam dhyayita. The one who contemplates. Abhidhyayita. How is this? Sa tejasi purushaha. So this brilliance or self-effulgent purushaha or the consciousness, papmana vinirmuktaha. So look at the last line, papmana vinirmuktaha. So the person who contemplates on this om or this purushaha as the om and who dwells upon it always, all the time, gets freed from all the papas, all the sins. What is the meaning of that? It means when you are the consciousness, when you are the Atma, Atma is not affected by Punyam and Papam. Atma does not have any Punya Papa. So when you contemplate or when you meditate upon this meaning, you're already free from Papas. So Papmanam vinirmuktaha. So muktaha means what? You become completely free from all these sins, attachments. Yatha, just as Pado Darasa Tvacha. See, Pado Darasa means a serpent, snake. See the word Pado Darasa? So Pado Dharas means a serpent or a snake. Tvacha nirmuchyate evam. So tvacha means skin. So the serpent or the snake has got a skin. So after some time you see the snake will not be there, and you will see only the snake's skin will be there. Sometimes you can mistake the skin to be the snake living there. But the snake always, after some time, it sheds the old skin and it adorns new skin and leaves the old skin behind. It means what? Just as the snake, removes the old skin and leaves it there and takes a new skin and becomes a new snake, or a new birth is given to the snake, so also the person who contemplates on this Purushaha as the nothing other than the Om is freed from Papmanam Nirmuktaha. He becomes a new person. Hope you understand the analogy. So that's a big sentence. Yaf punaraha etam trimatrena omiti anena eva aksharena paramam purusham abidhyayita sa tejasi purushe sampannaha. Sampanna means completed. So just as you complete the whole process, yatha padodaras tvacha nirmuchyate. So tvacha means skin is being discarded. Nirmuchyate. Evam papmana nirmuktaha. In the same way, you also get freed from the papas, so you leave the papam skin away. So papam in the skin, whatever we have, the whole body is full papas. So all the papam etc. is left behind, and you re-energize, you become a new person, a new vision is coming, a new knowledge rises. So when new knowledge rises, old knowledge cannot be there, correct? You cannot say that I would like to retain old knowledge that I am a jiva. At the same time, I want new knowledge to be that I am a consciousness. You cannot have both. You cannot say that I have light in my room. At the same time, I'd like to have darkness also. Either you can live in darkness, accept darkness, or you put a light on and you remove darkness. So when you put a light on in your room, light pervades everything. So light doesn't illumine only a section of that. When you put a light on your room, it pervades every living object, non-living object which was already there, and it brings into light everything. So when light comes into existence, darkness goes away. So darkness is left behind, new knowledge is taken. Same way here also. When you contemplate on this Om, which is referred in the Prashna Upanishad, then the person becomes free. So it is recommended one has to contemplate on Om as the sun. So Surya Antargataha. Then the same text talks about another quotation also. So also this etasmat jiva ghanat paratparam purishayam purusham ikshate. So this jiva ghanat, when you say jiva ghanat, when you mean that jivaha. So paratparam purishayam. So this paratparaha or parataf paraha, that which is beyond everything, is the one which pervades all the jiva ghanat. So jiva ghanat, when you say, is the one which is the mass, soul mass, which is all the physical body dimensions complex, is called the jiva ganaha. Ganam. Jiva ganaha means the mass which is there, of the jivas. So all the jivas put together is called Jivgana. So this is the one which pervades Paratmaram Purishayam, that which pervades everything. In all the jivas. It is called Purusham Ikshate. It is called Purushaha. Ikshate means it is said. This is what is meant by the word Purushaha in some other text in the Prashna Upanishad. Then the same text also quotation talks about Sarvesham Samsarinam. So all the people who are called Samsarinam, the one who are living in this world. Samsarinam means the one who is living in this universe. Jivanam, all the living beings. So Samsarina means all the people who are samsaras, all the jivas, etc. are there. And they are called Jivanamaha. They are called particular person, Jivanamaha. Atma Bhutaha means what? The essential essence in every living being, and every samsarina means every prani living here. Every object living here is samsarina. Samsaraha refers to not samsaraha. Samsarina refers to the universe. The whole Srishti is called samsarina. And jivanam, those things which are alive, and not jivanam, atma bhutaha. So the one which is present in the essence of everything is called Purushaha. So this is the text, this is given in the Prashna Upanishad, section 5.5. The reason I am quoting all these things is not to frighten you, to give you the vision that this Purusha Suktam is something not only present in Rig Veda, it is present in all the Vedas. So it is a complete text, and it is just not only for Parayanam, it is for contemplation. That is why it is always the foremost text, foremost thing to be chanted. In all the Suktams, Purusha Suktam is supposed to be the foremost. In fact, people say, do you know? I said, do you know Purusha Suktam? I said, no. Learn first Purusha Suktam. Because whether you know or not know, they will ask you to do Purusha Suktam. You may not know Vishnu Sahasranama, you may not know Kaundar Lahari, you may not know Lalita Sahasranama. But if you do not know Purusha Suktam, it is a gap. Such is the greatness of the Suktam. Because it is referred in every Upanishad. Every Upanishad talks about this. It is quoted in every Upanishad. So by reading the Purusha Suktam, understanding what it is, you are indirectly touching upon various Upanishad aspects, statements given there. So these are all individual statements given, referenced in the Purusha Suktam. So we have seen Prashna Upanishad. Now we see the Katha Upanishad, where it talks about a few things as well. So in the Katha Upanishad, the same Purushaha is talks about as the thumb, or the size of a thumb. If you know the Suktam, Atyadishta Dasha Angulaha. Atyadishta Dasha Angulaha. Right? Sahasra Sirisha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhubhim Vishvato Vritva Atyatishta Dashangulam. So Atyaha Tishtaha Dasha Angulaha. So Angula means what? Thumb. Right? Angulam. And Dasha Angulaha. So 10. So this is the 1 Angula, right? So 10 Angula is equal to what? You just keep 1, 2 like this, 10 Angula. So from your Nabi, Nabhyat Asit Antariksham. I mean, from the Nabi of the Vishnu, Antarikshaha came into existence. So Brahmaji also came from the Nabhi of the Mahavishnu, from the navel of the Mahavishnu. So Brahmaji is distinct, is definitely there. But Vishnu is still distinct from the creation. So Dasha Angulaha, we say, from your Nabhi till your heart, which is here. If you measure the distance, it will be 10. It will be approximately 10 of the Dashaha. So you measure from there to there, you see that it will come to 10. So Atyatishtaha Dasha Angula means what? The Bhagavan is actually away or uplifting himself about 10 spaces above even the creation. So the meaning of Atyatishta Dasha Angulaha, same things talked about here as the one who should be contemplated as the thumb and the distance between the measurement of the thumb, between the creation, the Shrishtihi. So in the Kathopanishad also it talks about this particular aspect. So then you see the second one, Saha Hi Antaratma Linga Rupena Sarva Bhutanam. So this particular Purushaha is the Antaratma, or the one which is the one single most essential thing which is presiding in the inner person, in inner living everything. So Antaratma, not Bahyatma. Antaratma is that which is inside. And Linga Rupena Sarva Bhutanam. Linga Rupena means the subtle. So it is present the subtlest of the matter in all the living beings, Sarva Bhutana. Then Purnam va anena pranaha buddhihi atmanaha jagataha samastamiti purushaha. So this purushaha is of the nature of Purnam, which is fullness. So Purnam means fullness or happiness. So Purnam. Then Va also Anena Prana. So all the pranas, Anena Pranaha, so present as the prana also. All the pranas which are there is the consciousness is pervaded. Then Buddhihi also pervades the intellect. Atmanaha, inside my mind also, body, mind, sense complex, everything is pervaded. And Jagataha Samastam. So not only pervades me, inside me in every part, it also pervades the entire Jagataha Samastam, means in totality. There is not a single place this Purushaha does not pervade. So this consciousness which is talked about is pervaded in every human being, in the mind of the person, the intellect, the ahankara, and also all the living objects in this universe. So that is why it is completely pervaded everything. It's called Purushaha. So Purnam va anena pranaha buddhi atmanaha jagataha samastamiti purushaha. Is it clear so far? Any questions you got on today's class, anyone? Okay. So the introduction I have not completed yet. I'll complete the introduction in the next class. Then we go into the actual Bhashyam. And before the Bhashyam, I'll also be chanting the mantras. So you can chant the mantras. People who already know the mantras, you can chant. People who do not know to chant or yet to learn chanting, you can chant along with me. The recording also is available on YouTube. So you can download the recording or you can listen to the recording again and again and perfect your chanting. So with this, I conclude today's class. And we will meet again next Thursday at 7:30 same time. And we'll look at a few other aspects of this Purushaha and what other Upanishads say. Then we hope to enter into the actual text. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tatsat Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste and Shubhradri to all of you. If you are making any notes, you're more than welcome to send it to me. I can edit for you. I can review your notes. If there are mistakes, incorrect. But make sure that you write your notes. All these things are written to you. You can copy them in your Word document or whichever document you got. Then you can write your own meanings for that. Okay. Hari Om.